Hey. Hey, Amy. Hey, Ken. Hey, you. I am just making sure that my internet connection is going to be good here. So if you just, hey, Amber, if you just happen to stumble upon this live, I am somewhere out in the middle of the Caribbean right now on vacation. And I get the terzepatide Google alerts. And a couple mornings ago, just checking my email, saw that Valhalla, there was an article in Reuters that Valhalla was being sued by Ely Lily. So I was like, what? Because, this has just been such a pain all along. And so anyway, I messaged them, jumped on here, and there were people already talking about it, and messaged them. And Phil, the CEO, he's great. I can't wait for you guys to meet him. I really honestly do consider him a friend. I've hung out with him and his wife and kids, and they're a wonderful group of people. And so anyway, we've talked about going live before. It's just he is so freaking busy. And so anyway, I messaged and they're like, okay, we need to go live, and just so he can answer some questions. And I was like, okay, well, let's see, when can I do this? So we've got some excursions planned. Today we did, an amazing race thing on St. Martin, which was so much fun. We actually won, which is crazy. If you all have heard me talk about when my family went to Ireland a few years ago, I guess it was before I started the terzepatide. I was not able to participate, thank you so much, in much of anything. And we freaking won the St. Martin Amazing Race. So we were kind of talking about it when we were having lunch after. I was like, do y'all realize like how I would not have, hey, Tiny B, y'all realize how I would not have even been able to do this, much less participate in the way that I did? And they were like, yeah, every one of them thought about it, which is just crazy. We're having a great time though. So let me see, what time is it? I definitely don't want to miss. Okay, he'll probably jump on right at the time. 7.8, careful what I eat, but still get terrible indigestion. I would just recommend using digestive enzymes. Hey, yeah, digestive enzymes, thanks for the love, are just a good way to stay ahead of it. Okay, there's my friend. All right, Valhalla, I'm going to go ahead and invite you over, Phil. And I'll just say, he is not a TikToker. The man is not on TikTok. So this should be fun. Waiting on him to join in. You're so welcome. Is it normal to hear food noise after 1 month? So, I guess it probably depends on what dose you're on. If you're still on that intro dose, it may just be time to move on up. Thanks for the likes. If there's anyone who is familiar with being a moderator and wants to, hey, Jenny, and wants to moderate, I hope we don't have any trolls, but you never know how that goes, So if anybody wants to do that. Hey, Kip, I see that you changed your name, Kippy D. So hopefully, I'm here in my room. Hey, Shayla. So just gonna hang out here with y'all until, and we were running all over the island today. Hey, and Kippy, did you hear that we won the amazing race? Oh, hey, okay, let me add you back in. Invite. So we did like one of the excursions on the island today called like the St. Martin race, and we won. came in first place. So, if you remember me talking about when we went to Ireland and I could not even walk over to the cliffs of Moher, like I had to just watch from a distance. Oh my gosh. I really hope that we don't have to go anywhere. I don't know if y'all saw that they have brought onto the Senate floor today a request for an extension to review. So I really hope that something's going to happen, because there's just not, hey friend, oh, it's so good to see you, I'm glad you're here. There's just not another app that provides, hey Laurie, the access and just such a wonderful, like it's just such a wonderful resource. I can't imagine like not having this as I have been on my GLP-1. I mean, the medicine is great and it's really worked miracles, but it has been, conversations with you all and watching the doctors here on the app that have made all the difference. So let me send, I don't know why. So I'm sending an invitation over to Philip. There we go. Got it.
Use audio only.
Oh, I hear ya. I just don't see ya. This is going to be so fun. Hey, Fred. How are you?
Hey. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I told them that this is not, like, TikTok is not your jam, but we have talked about doing this before, and now is just the time to just jump on and do it.
Yeah, exactly. I tried to join twice there, but my app wasn't cooperating with me. So,
Well, it may have even been me, being out here in the middle of the sea and all. But I'm glad that you're here. Can you hear me okay and see me okay and all? Oops, there it went. Let me add him again. There we go. Hopefully we'll get it stable here soon. Okay.
yeah, hopefully that'll be consistent. I don't know. I didn't touch anything there, so.
So maybe I think we'll be okay. All right. So, real quick, I just want to let everybody know how we even connected. Like how I just quickly, how I ended up being such a fan of Valhalla. I'd been on the name brand medicine. My coupon card that was giving me the prescription for $25 a month ran out after 2 months. And so it was costing me $1,200. I started doing research on medical providers that provided in my state, which is Tennessee. And I met with a couple of different, or did some consultations with a couple of different companies, honestly, that were bigger and that were more kind of prominent in the space. And I chose you all because you seemed like more of you weren't a weight loss company. First of all, you were just a wellness company and seemed to be, oh, dang it. Okay. I hope that doesn't continue to happen, but if it does, then I'll just keep.
No, I don't know if there's anything that we could do about it. I'm on Wi-Fi, so.
I have the package here on the ship, and this is as good as I can get. So I'll just keep, if it happens, I'll just keep doing that. Sorry, guys, but this is where we are. So anyway, I started using you all and loved the support that I was getting from Rosanna, was my provider at the time, and anyway, we connected from there, and then you and I had some conversations, and kind of the rest is history. It's 2 years in February, actually.
Wow, yeah. No, that's been a while. I remember actually the day, because one of your first videos actually went viral, and I was looking at all the, just all the traffic on the website, and because somebody alerted me the website was kind of slow, so I logged in and I was looking. and we had like, I don't know, like 70 new registrations that day, and I was like, oh, what's going on here? And we tracked it back to one of the videos that you released, and we got in touch shortly after that.
You did. Yeah, you guys reached out to me, which I was just over the moon because I mean, I was brand new to TikTok anyway, and for you all to reach out and then, you know, even in the I guess the video that I shared, I remember you telling me that I kind of described what you all really wanted for your patients. That this is not just a quick fix, but an answer to a health problem that many of us have had. And anyway, you just wanted to meet me, and it was just so nice. And everybody that I have known and worked with you guys, thank you, Super Nana, love you. You all have just been so wonderful. So I wanted to kind of share that. I haven't really talked much about that part of my story in a while. It's just kind of known that I'm with you all, but that's where it happened. So one of the first things that I would love, Philip, for you to talk about is just kind of give an overview of this lawsuit.
Yeah. Well, we just got notice of it today. So,
Okay.
there was an article about it yesterday in Reuters, and, they falsely claimed that they reached out to us, which they didn't. Because if they did, I would have made a comment.
Right,
And,
of course.
I mean, I would have been surprised, but I would have made a comment.
Right.
And, and then today we got papers for it. And it was really pretty basic stuff. I mean, it says false advertising, which in reality, I mean, I know that we have our affiliates and our influencers, but that's not. I don't really consider that advertising because we don't ask you guys to say anything in particular. We just
No.
try and form the network that really helps to uplift the community. We want to build the community, so that's what that's about. And then as
Right.
far as advertisements and advertising, we don't advertise to Zepatide like that. We have
Yeah.
GLP-1 for weight loss. And everybody knows that GLP-1s help with weight loss. We don't make any specific claims. And honestly, I mean, to be frank, I think it's bullshit. I mean,
Yeah.
they're just like throwing a lawsuit because they can and they have the money to spend. And let me tell you, it was this thick, right? Because what they want to do is have us pay for lawyers who are just going to have to read this and respond to every little notice that they put in there. But what do they
Right.
put? It's a word here, a word there, a picture of the product page that says tirzepatide is used for weight loss. I mean, no duh.
Yeah.
They like,
Right.
so I feel honestly like I'm not intimidated by it or really even uncomfortable about it. Like I mean, they seem desperate,
Yeah.
and I don't know why they would be desperate. They have this wonderful medication that they really could have built up in such a positive light by working with people who are trying to help keep this medication accessible to people who need it. People like Valhalla, who would have loved to have worked with them, but
No.
they're making everybody the enemy. And they're turning off a lot of their patients too because of this.
No.
Really, I mean, like, this is about improving the quality of life and maybe even like extending life for people who would have otherwise had health problems.
No.
And and I just wish they were doing a better job with it.
I do too. It just seems so like my gosh, they're making billions of dollars. Like there are ways that they could be making this more accessible. And I don't understand why they're not working with compounding pharmacies saying, hey, you guys have already tapped into a market. Let's work together and like get this out to even because there are people, unfortunately, that even with a compound, they can't afford it. And the fact that insurance that's what several of my followers have shared is like it's not even just a matter of it being available. It's a matter of it being affordable. I mean, when your insurance doesn't cover it.
Yes, well, that's also very true, right?
Mhm.
So we follow FDA guidance on all of this.
Yeah.
So up front, the FDA might not actually care whether it's affordable, right? Because they have their rules and regulations. But I do think that over time, that is going to be one of the issues that they face, right? Because if this comes off the compounding market, and it is due to come off on March 18th.
Mhm.
So if and when it comes off, people will lose access, even if it's
Right.
not in shortage, which the shortage is still really in question because the FDA has no process for this. They show no evidence that it's off shortage. Now maybe it's in some pharmacies, but I know a lot of distributors still can't get it. So I mean, it's in question. Uh, but at the end of the day, they're going to start people are going to start not being able to afford it. And people who are having positive health changes are now going to go back, and it's going to be an issue. And the FDA may
Right.
have to step in again when that happens. So,
Hmm. Yep. So what, let's see. I have a few questions here that I wanted to, because I knew that I could just chat with you all night. I want to make sure that I get to a couple of these. So as far as updates for current Valhalla patients, like on the 18th, if things change, what should we keep in mind?
well, I mean, honestly, there's alternatives like semaglutide.
Mhm.
That is one alternative. I don't want to. The thing is, I don't want to like misspeak and promise something that like we're not going to be able to fulfill.
Mhm.
But I know that the compounding pharmacies, for example, the 503B products have a 1 year by use date that's on them.
Okay.
So they are trying to stock up. So just because the compounding pharmacies have to stop producing by March 18th does not mean that that's when it's not going to be accessible anymore. It's going to be whenever their stock runs out.
Great point. Okay. Okay.
So that's a strategy that they're employing. Now, how much stock they have in, I can't say. They won't tell me either.
Right. Right.
I mean, it's just
But
like
they
on the rep.
know.
Closer, I think that we will be able. I'll be able to start pressing them for better answers because we're going to want to release a statement as well, right? It's not going to be like March 18th, like okay, um, sorry guys, it's going away in a week. There's only a week of stock left. Like we're going to figure it out, and we'll let everybody know. And we always let everybody know as soon as we know, right?
Right.
A lot of things I wake up in the morning, come into work, and the next thing you know, there it is. It's in the news. I'm like,
Right.
it's the way it goes sometimes. But
Yeah.
but immediately after that, our next step is we get an email together and we get it out to the patients, and we make sure that everybody that we can tell about it is informed and updated.
Right. Right. So this is a little bit of a side note, but I was thinking about it last night. So the whole thing with like the Ma Bell companies, because Bell had a monopoly on residential phone service back in the 80s and how they had to break down into it. Do you think that something? I mean, this is totally just conjecture, but do you think that because like this is unprecedented that compounding pharmacies are providing this level of medication under that 503A and B rule that was not intended for it to be something like it is. But do you think that maybe there will be some intervention that says like this many people and the number growing every day, that there shouldn't be such a monopoly? Is that even a
I Yeah, it's hard to speculate exactly what because sometimes they allow negative consequences to occur before they walk it back and they fix the
right?
issue, right? Like,
Right.
I don't know if they're looking forward on this. I
Mm-hmm.
know that the American Endocrine Society is definitely looking forward on this. And I
Okay.
know that there's a few other countries that have actually made it an essential life saving medication, these GLP-1 medications, which do allow them to be compounded
Okay.
indefinitely, right?
Okay.
So, like, whether that's something that's going to happen in the US, in our country,
Right.
it's hard to say, but there's people fighting for it. And I know the
Mhm.
OFA is going to be fighting for that as well.
Yeah.
A lot of back. So,
Yeah, I have really. I've seen like one of their attorneys in an interview, and also just their lawsuit.
like they came guns blazing, in the way they're like, this is reckless. And it really is. It really is. So yeah, I mean, I just wondered if, like, I don't know, if maybe something like that in the 11th hour will happen. Now, what about, I saw that someone had mentioned, and I've heard this too, that if you just change the dosage, or if you change up the exact formulation, add in a B vitamin that changes, like some of the side effects, can that give us more, an extended amount of time?
Well, it can and it does in certain instances, but it's pretty stringent, So like a lot of things that needs to be submitted with evidence.
Right.
So and it's definitely possible to do, but it's going to be continued lawsuits. I mean, it's going to be lawsuit after lawsuit. They're just like, I mean, we're not the first ones, I mean, like nowhere near the only ones. I'm just looking at a list, and it's just like, okay, it was Valhalla's turn this time, and
Right, exactly. Which is kind of like, I don't know. On the one hand, I was like, oh, MFer. And on the other hand, I was like, oh my gosh, look at y'all. I mean, so not actually a great thing, but also they're probably just making their rounds. Because this has been happening. I mean, I always say every 3 months we hear there's something else that is happening where, there's some threat. And it's frustrating because it's like we're talking about people's health and medicine here, that people are
always
stressed, like
aggression,
so
right? Always
stressed.
aggression, and they have all this money that they could be spending towards making
Yeah,
these drugs more accessible to people, and instead, it's just all about. I mean, it's really just all corporate greed, right?
right.
I mean, like they're essentially taking away people's freedom of choice,
Yeah,
and I don't know if I mean, like, I think of this so much differently, right? Like, we're all about accessibility, and we take risks for people, and I mean, like, this is really hard. This is a hard business to run. It's a hard thing to keep up with. It's constantly changing, and you can see
right.
it's constantly being attacked by somebody. But really, it's just a bunch of people trying to do their best because, like, I started this company. I started this before GLP-1s were even a thing.
I
But,
know. Yes.
I mean, I started this to create, it was all about accessibility to these medications that people are otherwise getting on research chemical websites or couldn't find it all. It's
Right.
all, it's on the black market. But really, there was compounding pharmacies legitimately making these medications.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
and I continue with that mission, right? So it's
Hmm.
not just about weight loss. It's not just about GLP-1s, but these are life-changing medications for people. And I I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that people still have access.
Yeah. One of the things I remember you telling me, when we were talking, I mean, I was talking to you about one of the fears, because people were, like you were saying it's on the black market and all of this stuff. And one of the things that you said was, I want for us to be the ones, like, you don't have to worry about that. If you're with Valhalla, you're getting it from a compounding pharmacy that we have vetted, that we know are using, quality ingredients. And so you don't have to go all over the place trying to find something that's going to be safe. Like, you just come to us and we've got that covered for you. And that was just like, so when people were coming at me in my videos about compounds being bad, they don't do that so much anymore because that's kind of old news. But in the beginning, they were coming hard for me. I was confident.
They were because these lawsuits. I mean, this isn't a new thing. That has been since the beginning, and they've
Yep.
been calling into question the quality of the medications that they're producing, the sterility, and the efficacy, and the sourcing, and every single time they lose. They
Right.
lose every one of these lawsuits because it's nonsense. They're
It's
just
so good.
throwing
Hmm.
something out there to waste people's time, waste people's money, and discourage them. But discourage them for what? The medication's on shortage. Like, let people have access to the medication, and then when it's covered by insurance, and eventually this will be covered by insurance. Every insurance is going to cover it because it's helping reduce insurance costs anyway because it's improving people's health so much. So, like, why not focus on that? Focus on getting it covered by insurance, and create the market that you need to have your $100 billion drug, and and then everybody will have access to it, and nobody would have any complaints then.
I know. I can't see why, if they are in the healthcare business, that isn't there. This is really a great opportunity for them to go against the big pharma like reputation and do something good. And unfortunately, that's not what we're seeing. And I remember you also telling me that you hoped like that this would be available through insurance for because of the growing popularity, and you all wanted to even be able to help people get that are using insurance. Like you're forward thinking about like what are all of the ways that we can make this accessible to people, and
The whole time is so the medical providers, they're actually they're the business entities that operate on Valhalla, right? So like we're a platform, and it's their practices operating, and each practice that's on there, I'm on it, encouraging them and helping them to get credentialed with insurance, so that as these medications are accepted by insurance, they could transition into it. And I've always positioned on messaging, and like we don't talk about the brand name, but we also position the messaging so that I wanted to. And now I was a little naive when I was doing this, because like they talk about big pharma, but it is what it is. But I was hoping that we could position ourselves to really play nice with everybody and be positioned to be a good partner for.
like to be the pinch hitter. Like we realize you guys are the all stars, like, but we can pinch hit, and then I mean, we're part of the team, but that has not been. That's what I was really hoping for too.
Right? I mean, the licensed doctors, licensed nurse practitioners, and we've invested a lot in this, and we've built a community of people that have great results, and to transition into that it would have been great, but I don't know. I think that this puts a bad taste in everybody's mouth, and I mean, obviously, especially ours. But it would be nice if they were like, if they respected the way that things should be, and with licensed medical providers being able to make decisions with their patients, better their patients' health. That's the team that we should all be in.
Right, right. So if there are delays, whenever this 18th, the date comes up, like, do you see any potentials in delays of people getting their medication? What should Valhalla patients be? Should we be stockpiling? What do you suggest?
I mean, so like, we use Pharmacy Hub, and they have a 503B product. They're a 503A pharmacy, but they distribute a 503B product. As long as that's not punctured, it's good for a year.
Okay.
Right. So you can stockpile. I think, stockpiling really only for that year would be a good idea to make sure that you have it. But it is really hard to say, right? Like, I don't want to overpromise anything, but like, we are doing our best with it. I think the pharmacies are going to be stockpiled to a certain extent, so that it's not just going to go away. And then as far as delays, we use several pharmacies, so there shouldn't be delays. And then people who really need special dosing, there could be options for them as well.
Right.
Right. So like, we all know Mounjaro and Zepbound, they come in specific incremental doses, 2.5 milligrams, 5 milligrams, 7.5. Right. But people like to ramp up a bit slower than that a lot of times.
And I'm on 6 milligrams. Like, for whatever reason, 5 felt a little like it wasn't good, and then 7.5 is too much. So I'm one of those in between even.
Right? Yeah, no. So then, like, and what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to move up and then be uncomfortable and then be taking extra medication, which, hopefully the side effects are only mild if you go up in dose, but who wants to be taking extra medication? So
let's just say she volunteers to take 11 milligrams. So yeah, there are ways, little loopholes. So another thought that I've had, and I don't know if it works differently in the medical arena, but like, I work with couples a lot in my practice, and two people getting divorced can be caught up in litigation for years, just over like custody of their cats. So, I mean, I'm also thinking that with the OFA, like they're not just going to lay down on this. So, do you anticipate just a lot of litigation back and forth, or is it one of these things where you said the hammer may fall and then they just have to walk it back?
Yeah, no, I do foresee it dragging out a little bit longer. I mean, I'm in contact with the CEOs of all these pharmacies. I know
Okay.
really just about all of them. And I speak to them as regularly as really we need. Anytime that anything pops up, we're in contact. And they seem to be on the same page with this, that it is going to go on for longer. But again, I don't want to promise anything. And then, like, it's just hard. Right? I don't want to lie to anybody, but the thing is, it does look like it could be dragged out. And that would be positive for us. So,
So, something I was thinking about so that I don't miss an opportunity is there, like, if people that are here with us live only get one, like, if they only will remember one thing that you say out of this, what do you want people to know?
well, really, that Valhalla has your back, right? I mean, we're here. It's all about accessibility. So if you ever have any questions, we're going to be transparent about what's going on. It might not be the answer that you want, but it's just because we're going to tell you what we know, and we're not going to overextend ourselves. We don't want to overpromise it. But we are absolutely doing our best, and we're working with the best in the field, and there'll always be an option for people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And also in my notes, is there anything that we can do to help advocate for ourselves other than, I mean, I know that my endocrinologist, aside from my Valhalla provider, my endocrinologist, like he is such an advocate for compounds, specifically because of the accessibility and the financial element. When I told him like that I was switching to a compound and started going into all of the research that I had done, he was like, great work on that, but do it. You need to be on this medicine. And he has been a fan all along. But is there anything that you know of that we can do to help advocate for ourselves to the FDA or at all?
Yeah, well, there was the most recent petition that I had seen is a petition for doctors and providers to be signing, and it was going to RFK's office, right? So it's asking for intervention from RFK.
Okay.
And that's something that if you guys could actually get your doctors to sign in any capacity, that would be great.
Okay.
If there's anything additional that we could get, we will definitely send it out in an email, and I'd love to share it. But right now, it hasn't been patient focused. It's mainly been the providers, and I think that really is just bringing in like the Endocrine Society and the American Diabetes Association. So,
Yeah. And I mean, with all of the new research with, I mean, addiction, and I mean, this is crossing over into so many different specializations. Like, oh my gosh, it's such, you said it, I mean, it's such an amazing product. I hope that the position changes from, bottom line money to actually getting it to people to help them. Let's see. So, all right, last question, and then we'll take some questions from our followers if you don't mind. With the OFA's lawsuit against Eli Lilly and the whole shortage thing, what are your thoughts on that?
with the OFA, I mean, I think that they took a great approach to it, right? So, really, the initial issue that came up on October 2nd was Eli Lilly was petitioning the FDA and really basically commanding them to remove it from the shortage list. And then they said, no, it still needs to remain on the shortage list. And then just one day the FDA woke up and pulled the rug out and said, okay, no more compounding. Mm-hmm. And there really wasn't any guidance around this, and there was no procedure around it either. So there's a few CEOs of the compounding pharmacies that got together with the OFA, and and they wanted to bring this forward because they invested millions and millions of dollars into being able to provide accessibility and continuity of care for patients, and they really picked up the slack. And then and then what? They're just going to all have to lay off their employees, and they're going to have millions of dollars in stock and facilities that possibly go out of business. So it really wasn't a fair situation. So that was really the main approach, where they came in and they're saying, there needs to be some kind of procedure that this undergoes, where there's notice that's given and then a ramp down period. And that's really what they're fighting for here. So the FDA is doing this extension and they're calling it a ramp down period, but really there was no procedure that occurred before, right? Like where are the checks and balances that ensure that this medication is in stock and that there's going to be a steady supply? It shouldn't just be a backdoor closed office deal where the CEO of a pharma company can sit down with the FDA and demand that they remove it, and then it just gets off the list because there's no reliability to that. And that's what I hope that the outcome of this is, really. And maybe it turns into more than that, but that would be a great outcome.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let me look here at our questions and see. Anybody have any questions for Philip that you would like to ask? So, Candace, they are suing other companies. They have been. And that is why a lot of fear, like over the last 2 years, like every few months, they'll either get a compounding pharmacy or a medical provider. What will happen with the affiliates? Does anything change with us?
No, I don't think so. I mean, no, I wouldn't say that anything's going to happen with the affiliates. I mean, okay. we love the community that we built.
Thanks, Jazz. Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
I saw what's my favorite peptide in there, and I'd say it's hard. It's hard. I'm splitting hairs between sermorelin and DPC. DPC for me, I have a old lingering shoulder injury that flares up sometimes, and I'm not really an advocate or I mean a proponent of drugs at all. Even over the counter, like Advil. So when I get some inflammation and that's acting up, DPC really helps me out a lot. And
I have said it over and over again. You told me that, and I used it for my frozen shoulder, and it completely eliminated. I took it for, a while every day, and did massage and, stretching, and it's fine. Where the other one, I had to have surgery. It's been huge. So yes, follow us on IG Iron Sale. Yep. Yes. Thank you guys for showing up. Let's see. Let's just get peptides. Valhalla prescribed DPC. They do. I actually get my DPC 157 from them. So they do, Matt. Can you speak to that, Philip? So are there some states that you guys can't provide the AOD and the DPC anymore?
Yeah, I'm actually not really sure. I know that it's offered there, so I'm not.
Okay. And sometimes if you're not a patient, you don't have full access to the wellness store. You only have limited access. So that may be it too. Because I know that I'm able to get it. Text customer service. Okay. Where can I get more info on different peptide benefits? On their website. This guy writes the blogs. So just
I don't write all the
remind
blogs. There's
there.
a few blogs that I wrote. So
Okay, all right. So
some are
he
keyword based. So like
crushed it.
keyword based, right? It's just all about ranking. So it's
Okay.
like it'd be very repetitive. Those aren't the ones that I wrote. Some of the more interesting ones with like, you know,
Yes, with all of the good research, those Philip wrote. So that was another thing. Whenever I first went with you guys, I would just spend hours just reading about the different products and the research that you would include in those blogs. And that's where I was getting a lot of my information for the content that I was sharing because nobody was talking about that. They were always just talking about like how many pounds they had lost and all the things, which of course is, that's the exciting stuff. But I also wanted to know what was happening in my body. And then I found out that you were the one writing those blogs, and that was really
well,
cool.
like basically there's the featured blogs,
Yeah.
and any of the ones that I wrote, they're gonna have citations at the bottom. So if you scroll to the bottom and you see scientific articles that are cited with legitimate research, those are the ones that I wrote.
Yep. Yep. And yeah, he can talk for days about peptides, just rattling off the letters and the numbers and way over my head. What is Retta? So, retatrutide is the triple agonist that Eli Lilly has in the final stages of research, showing even higher percentages of weight loss. And it's got that third agonist that I think it impacts ghrelin in particular, right, Philip? Do you know much about the retatrutide?
Yeah. So retatrutide, we're actually not able to offer right now because
Okay.
I mean, it's still in development. So what
Right.
we're doing is just observing, and once it's approved, if it's able to come back on, we'll be able to offer that. But it's
It's going to be a good one, I think. I mean, the more they learn about these, the better they're getting. And then what about Samorlin that you enjoy so much? Someone asked.
well, Samorlin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Samorlin is a growth hormone secretagogue, which really means it's a growth hormone releasing peptide, and that works very well. Right, so it's going to boost your growth hormone levels still to a natural level, but higher than it would be otherwise. And it's really to a youthful level, which helps provide some of the skin, hand, nail benefits. There's growth hormone has a lipolysis pathway, which means that it actually helps to break down and free up fatty acids from your stored fat. So it pairs very well with GLP-1 meds, especially well with GLP-1 meds because it also boosts IGF. And GLP-1s reduce IGF, and that actually accounts for a lot of the reason why you lose lean mass, right? So if you IGF, it's basically it's a signaling pathway that helps with cellular and muscular growth.
Okay.
So really, but it's all about maintenance, right? Because if you're on a GLP-1, well, I mean, if you're working out, you want to build some muscles,
Right.
but it's really about like maintaining what you have. And if you're on a GLP-1, you want to enhance the fat loss benefits while
Right.
retaining your muscle. Because if you lose 10 pounds and 3 pounds of that is muscle, you really have to lose like 10 pounds that you wanted to lose.
Right.
And at the end of the day, that is sometimes some of what they count for, like if they've ever said Ozempic face and something
Right.
like that, right? Because you're losing not only the fat, but you're losing the muscle in your face, and that could occur across the body.
Yes. So actually, Samorlin is even better than AOD 9604 then because that is just decreasing fat, right? It's not doing anything for muscle, or is it?
What was that?
The AOD 9604 compared to the Samorlin, more
Yeah,
benefit.
yes, exactly. So that's a growth hormone fragment, and what it is it only targets the lipolysis pathway, and lipolysis is the fat breakdown pathway. Growth hormone in particular also has IGF. Right? So if you have AOD, you get better fat loss, so you're not going to have the muscle retention.
Okay, that makes sense. And from the research that I've done on the AOD 9604, like it either works for you or it doesn't. I mean, for some people, it really doesn't change anything. For some people, it's helpful. But the Samorlin, does that have better, like, does that tend to be more consistent with folks?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Okay.
The AOD, it's really hard because I think dosage for AOD, like any research that was done, especially in humans, it was run at much higher doses. So to say, but people get results on it, so it's really hard to say exactly. Maybe it just works better for some people versus others. Because Samorlin seems to work consistently for everybody.
Okay. How frequently do you take Samorlin? Is that a 5 day a week deal like the 9604?
Yeah, 5 days a week, usually almost always at night before bed. Because
Okay.
your growth hormone pulses during your first two sleep cycles. Right,
Okay.
so that's when you release 90% of growth hormone through the day. Right.
Does it improve sleep?
Yes, it actually helps. It helps with sleep. That's one of the first effects that people notice. And growth hormone release is inhibited by insulin, and it's enhanced by ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone. Right. So what you really want to do is be fasted, or at least 2 hours after a meal, especially avoiding carbohydrates, which would increase your insulin levels.
Okay.
Right. So if you take it right before bed on an empty stomach, that's how you maximize results.
Wow. Okay. Very cool. Thank you. Let's see. So interesting. Can't wait to learn more. Yeah. Do you have a blog about that on the website?
About Samorlin,
Mhm.
I'm not sure. I don't actually recall. I know that there are blogs about it, but I don't actually remember writing one about it. I can though. I'd love
Okay.
to.
Yeah, that would be great. It is an injection.
It is. And I would like to actually look for trophies for it as well. So like that's something that's on my list to source because I, with a lot of peptides, they could be hit or miss. They can
Yeah.
sublingually, but I know just from experience, like I have had trophies in the past, and when I was taking them, I was getting the same results as when it was injectable. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's
Yeah,
one
I
that.
was lucky with the 9604 to move me out of the stall too. And it was fine for me, when I took them. So, are there any side effects with Samorlin?
So yes, they can be. One of the first ones is hunger. So like that's one thing that people notice. So hunger, take it before bed, go to sleep, don't eat, and you won't be hungry in the morning. It only lasts like half hour to an hour.
Oh, okay.
Some people and a lot of people get flushing and their heart beats a little bit rapidly afterwards.
Hmm.
That's just it's a common effect for people. That's something that you should definitely talk to your medical provider about. They can explain a little bit more about it. And but I think those are the main side effects. Some people can get like tingling in their fingers too, though. So again, talk to your medical provider about it. They can walk you through everything.
Okay. Okay. Any other peptides that you want to mention that might be helpful for people that are on a GLP-1 but struggling or have a large amount that they still need to lose to add in? So Matt's asking about 5-amino 1-MQ. I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah, 5-amino 1-MQ is. I think it's pretty good, right? So it basically it works via enhancing mitochondrial health, and and really, I mean, anything that boosts mitochondrial health is going to have positive effects on energy expenditure. You're going to have higher energy levels. You're going to be able to lose more weight more easily. Your metabolic rate is going to be higher. So that is a good pair for it. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. So someone is asking about delays on their orders, and someone else is asking, what do you look for when selecting a pharmacy for the peptides that you guys provide?
So what do I look for with peptides? I mean,
Yeah,
with
for
pharmacies?
the pharmacies when you're vetting pharmacies.
Well, there's several things that we're looking for, but I like it when they're providing tracking updates. I like it when they're shipping. Really, like we try to push them to ship like next day. Not all the pharmacies can. Some pharmacies have delays. Some pharmacies, those are the only pharmacies that we could source these medications from, so we just have to deal with it. But these are the things that I'm looking for is I want to have good pricing for the patients. I want to have next day shipping if possible, definitely not more than 4 days out, and tracking updates.
Mm-hmm. So, someone mentioned delays in shipping. Has that been, it's been weeks and no meds, and customer service isn't helpful?
Yeah. Well, so unfortunately, I think that some of the pharmacies, um, and I don't want to name names, on online because we have to work with them. But there
Mm-hmm.
are some pharmacies that some medications come from that sometimes there are delays on, and we do our best to follow up on it. But the way that the portal system is, it's very difficult to check on it, and we don't really get updates either. So, we'll ping our reps and we'll ask them about it and try and push it along, and we do our best with it. But we do have a lot of orders, and since those are the only pharmacies that offer it, we're in a little bit of a stuck situation. But
Right.
I do want to say that I'm trying to absolutely hold them accountable, and that we are always looking for better sourcing when those issues pop up. And we have made significant progress with it. If you think about where this was when we first opened up and we were dealing with these pharmacies, I mean, it was like 4 or 5 week delays on things like tirzepatide. And
Mm-hmm.
now, for medications like tirzepatide and semaglutide, like we want next day, same day type of shipping on them.
Right.
We've been getting it. So we're going to get that for everything eventually.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, just send them a DM, because that there must be something falling through the cracks there, because they're pretty great about that. I know that I have gotten my tirzepatide in as little as 4 days after I have ordered it. Like, it's at my house before the week is even out. Not always, but yeah, the weather for sure as
Yes. Oh
well.
yeah, I know. There was a big. So there was the shipping facility in Kentucky when that storm rolled through last week, and there was shipping delays through there. And then with the fires affecting anything on West Coast, but I mean, I don't want to make excuses for it. I you should absolutely get an answer, and if you could, if somebody could help facilitate that, I think that would be great.
Right.
It is that they shoot us a DM. So that's,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. Any other questions before we jump off here? Thank you, Philip, for doing this. I know this is family time, probably, or maybe work time for you. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, send the,
Well, it bleeds. Usually some family time now though. We have dinner and I'm gonna go home and get the kids ready for bed. But
yeah, yeah. Okay, well, yeah, of course. Yes, they're accepting new patients. And if you go over to my page and click on the link in my bio, there's a coupon code there, and you can use that coupon code up to 3 times. So make sure that you use that. Yep, there you go, Task 20. And you can use that on any of your orders, even with your consultation with your provider if you want. Yeah, they are, Michelle, still offering peptide. Okay, all
this is
right.
this is my first live, so thanks for bearing with me a little bit
Hey,
at the beginning
so
there.
glad that we got to do this. Where are you, by the way? I keep looking like this isn't your back porch, is it?
No, this is my office. It's set up like
I
that.
didn't see this place. Is this different from?
Yeah, yeah, no, it's my new office. My dad actually, my dad's a master carpenter, and we wanted to do
Oh,
this project together for a long time. So I had some of the space, and he came in and he hooked me up, and
it looks very nice.
well, thank you.
Very
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, take care of yourself, and I'll check in with you at some point. But tell Sam and everybody hey for me.
I
But thank
will.
you.
No, this was great. Thank you so much, especially on your vacation.
Yeah, of
Great.
course. I had to. I couldn't just not leave
Yeah.
it.
And I want to say thank you to everybody else for showing up tonight and your support as clients. and the community. And, I think that we're going to do great things together, and we're just going to keep it up.
I agree. Yep. Let's do it. Bye, you guys. Take care of yourself. Drink your water.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.